I used to believe family was the one place where the world couldn't reach you. No matter how broken everything else became, family was supposed to be safe. A place where you didn't have to explain yourself. A place where love didn't need proof. I was wrong, and I learned that on a morning that looked completely ordinary. The day my life quietly split into before and after started with coffee. I remember that clearly because it was cold by the time I realized my hands were shaking. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. A message from my mother. "We need to talk. Come over today." Nothing unusual. No emojis. No explanation. But something in my chest tightened. I didn't know yet that this was the moment everything would change. That I was about to find out I had been living in a story where I was never the main character. I drove to my parents' house with that familiar knot in my stomach. The house where I grew up. The house where I learned to stay quiet. The house where my sister learned she was special. My sister's car was parked outside. The new one. Shiny. Black. Expensive. I remember thinking, that's strange, because last month she said she couldn't afford a new car. I parked and went inside. They were all sitting at the dining table like they were waiting for me. My mother, my father, my sister, and a folder. That folder changed everything. "Sit," my father said, his voice already tired, like I was a problem he had to solve. I sat. My sister wouldn't look at me. My mother kept touching the edge of her cup. That's when I knew something was wrong. "We used the inheritance money," my mother said quickly, like ripping off a bandage. I blinked. "What?" My father cleared his throat. "Your grandmother's money, the one she left for you. We used it." The words didn't make sense. I laughed, actually laughed, because I thought this was a joke. "You mean you borrowed it?" Silence. My sister finally looked up. "We needed it," she said. "And you weren't using it." That sentence broke something in me. I felt the room tilt. "That money was mine," I said slowly. "She left it for me." My mother reached for my hand. "Don't make this ugly, Mary. Family helps family. Family helps family." But nobody helped me when I worked 2 jobs. Nobody helped me when I skipped meals to pay rent. Nobody helped me when my marriage fell apart. I stood up so fast the chair scraped the floor. "How much?" I asked. My father looked away. "All of it." I think that was the moment I stopped being their daughter. I became an inconvenience. A problem. A complication. My sister's voice was sharp now. "You can earn it back. You're good at surviving, remember?" I stared at her. And suddenly, everything made sense. They never planned to tell me. They never planned to ask. They had already decided. And the worst part? They thought I would understand. I left without screaming, without crying, without saying anything. I drove until my hands stopped shaking, and when I finally pulled over, I screamed into the steering wheel so hard my throat burned. That inheritance wasn't just money. It was my grandmother's promise. She had held my hands years ago and said, "This is for your future, for when you need to start again." And I had needed it, but now it was gone, given away like I didn't matter. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at the wall, replaying every moment of my life where I had made myself smaller so others could be comfortable. And that's when a terrifying thought hit me. If my own family could do this, what else were they capable of? My phone buzzed again. A message from my sister. "Please don't be dramatic. You'll get over it." I turned the phone off. I didn't know yet that this was only the beginning. I didn't know that my grandmother already knew. I didn't know she had prepared something none of them expected. And I definitely didn't know that soon I would leave the country and take my future back in ways they could never undo. But that night, I cried myself to sleep with one thought echoing in my head. If family can betray you this easily, then maybe loyalty should be earned, not assumed. Pain doesn't arrive loudly. It creeps in when the house is quiet, when the dishes are done, when there's nothing left to distract you. That's when it hits. I sat on the floor that night with my back against the couch, phone face down, light off, breathing like I had forgotten how to do it properly. The inheritance was gone. Just like that. And the worst part wasn't the money. It was the certainty. The certainty that if I disappeared tomorrow, nothing would change for them. I didn't sleep. I watched the ceiling fan spin and spin, counting rotations like it might carry me somewhere else. At 4:12 a.m., my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Mary, a soft voice said. I knew that voice. I sat up so fast my head spun. Grandma? She was calling from hospice. I hadn't known she was there yet. My chest tightened. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. She sighed. A tired sigh. I didn't want you to worry. You already carry too much. That sentence broke me. We talked for a long time. About small things. About her room. About the window by her bed. And then she said it. Mary, your mother told me what they did. The air left my lungs. She did. I whispered. Yes. And she told me you were upset. Upset. That's what they called it. Grandma was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. They thought I wouldn't find out. She wasn't angry. That's what scared me. She sounded clear, focused, like someone who had just solved a puzzle they already suspected the answer to. Listen to me carefully, she said. They didn't take your future. I swallowed. Yes, they did. No, she said gently. They revealed themselves. I started crying. Ugly, shaking sobs. And she let me. She didn't rush me. She didn't tell me to be strong. She waited. When I finally calmed down, she said, Mary, I need you to promise me something. What? I whispered. No matter what happens next, you don't confront them. What? I said again, confused. You let them think they won. That made no sense. Why? Because then she said the words that changed everything. Because I already prepared for this. My hands went numb. Prepared how? She smiled. I could hear it in her voice. Do you think I lived this long without learning how people behave? She told me about the lawyer, about the documents, about the second file I had never seen, and about the clause they had all ignored. The money they took, she said calmly, it was only half. My heart stopped. What? The rest is in trust. I covered my mouth. And it's locked, she continued, until the day after my death. I couldn't breathe. They can't touch it. They can't even see it. And neither can you yet. My body shook. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. Because I wanted to see who they were without it. I realized then that my grandmother wasn't just protecting me. She was testing them. And they failed. There's more, she said quietly. Mary, I need you to leave. Leave? Yes. Far. Start again. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. I will. And when the time comes, she said, you'll choose what kind of family you want. After we hung up, I sat there in the dark for a long time. The pain was still there. But now, something else was growing beside it. Clarity. The next morning, I woke up different. I didn't cry. I didn't check my phone. I made coffee and opened my laptop. And for the first time in my life, I didn't ask what my family wanted. I asked what I needed. I searched for flights, jobs, visas, apartments, a life that didn't include begging for fairness. 3 days later, my mother called. I didn't answer. Then my sister texted, "Stop acting like a victim." I smiled. They still thought I was powerless. I started selling things, packing, organizing documents. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Because I understood something now. The most dangerous person is the one who looks defeated, but is already walking away. That night, Grandma called again. "You sound lighter," she said. "I am," I whispered. "Good," she said. "That means it's working." And in that moment, I knew. This story wasn't about what they took from me. It was about what I was about to take back. Pain doesn't arrive loudly. It creeps in when the house is quiet, when the dishes are done, when there's nothing left to distract you. That's when it hits. I sat on the floor that night with my back against the couch, phone face down, light off, breathing like I had forgotten how to do it properly. The inheritance was gone. Just like that. And the worst part wasn't the money. It was the certainty. The certainty that if I disappeared tomorrow, nothing would change for them. I didn't sleep. I watched the ceiling fan spin and spin, counting rotations like it might carry me somewhere else. At 4:12 a.m., my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Mary, a soft voice said. I knew that voice. I sat up so fast my head spun. Grandma? She was calling from hospice. I hadn't known she was there yet. My chest tightened. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. She sighed. A tired sigh. I didn't want you to worry. You already carry too much. That sentence broke me. We talked for a long time. About small things. About her room. About the window by her bed. And then she said it. Mary, your mother told me what they did. The air left my lungs. She did. I whispered. Yes. And she told me you were upset. Upset. That's what they called it. Grandma was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. They thought I wouldn't find out. She wasn't angry. That's what scared me. She sounded clear, focused, like someone who had just solved a puzzle they already suspected the answer to. Listen to me carefully, she said. They didn't take your future. I swallowed. Yes, they did. No, she said gently. They revealed themselves. I started crying. Ugly, shaking sobs. And she let me. She didn't rush me. She didn't tell me to be strong. She waited. When I finally calmed down, she said, Mary, I need you to promise me something. What? I whispered. No matter what happens next, you don't confront them. What? I said again, confused. You let them think they won. That made no sense. Why? Because then she said the words that changed everything. Because I already prepared for this. My hands went numb. Prepared how? She smiled. I could hear it in her voice. Do you think I lived this long without learning how people behave? She told me about the lawyer, about the documents, about the second file I had never seen, and about the clause they had all ignored. The money they took, she said calmly, it was only half. My heart stopped. What? The rest is in trust. I covered my mouth. And it's locked, she continued, until the day after my death. I couldn't breathe. They can't touch it. They can't even see it. And neither can you yet. My body shook. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. Because I wanted to see who they were without it. I realized then that my grandmother wasn't just protecting me. She was testing them. And they failed. There's more, she said quietly. Mary, I need you to leave. Leave? Yes. Far. Start again. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. I will. And when the time comes, she said, you will choose what kind of family you want. After we hung up, I sat there in the dark for a long time. The pain was still there. But now, something else was growing beside it. Clarity. The next morning, I woke up different. I didn't cry. I didn't check my phone. I made coffee and opened my laptop. And for the first time in my life, I didn't ask what my family wanted. I asked what I needed. I searched for flights, jobs, visas, apartments, a life that didn't include begging for fairness. 3 days later, my mother called. I didn't answer. Then my sister texted, "Stop acting like a victim." I smiled. They still thought I was powerless. I started selling things, packing, organizing documents. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Because I understood something now. The most dangerous person is the one who looks defeated, but is already walking away. That night, Grandma called again. "You sound lighter," she said. "I am," I whispered. "Good," she said. "That means it's working." And in that moment, I knew. This story wasn't about what they took from me. It was about what I was about to take back. The call came at 6:17 a.m. I remember the time because I stared at the screen for a long moment, trying to convince myself not to answer it. Something inside me already knew. Some calls don't ring. They arrive. "Mary," the nurse said gently. My chest tightened. "I'm calling from the hospice." I sat up in bed, the room spinning. She passed early this morning, peacefully. I closed my eyes. Grandma was gone. I didn't cry at first. I just sat there, holding the phone, listening to the silence that followed the end of her sentence. I thought I would scream, collapse, break. But instead, I felt calm, like a door had closed, and something else had opened. I walked to the window. The city was waking up. People rushing to work. Cars moving. Life continuing like nothing had changed. And that was the strangest part. She was gone. But the world hadn't noticed. I lit a candle and whispered goodbye. I promised her I would remember everything she taught me. I promised her I would not waste what she gave me. 2 hours later, my phone rang again. Different number. A man's voice. Mary Collins? Yes. This is Mr. Harrow. I'm your grandmother's attorney. My heart stopped. There are documents you need to see, he said. When can you come in? I laughed quietly. I'm not in the country. Silence. Then surprise. I see, he said slowly. Then we'll do this by video. The call happened that afternoon. I sat at my kitchen table with coffee that had gone cold, staring at a screen that felt heavier than any courtroom. He opened a folder, and then he changed everything. Your grandmother established a trust, he said. A private one. I nodded. I know. He blinked. You do? Yes, I said. She told me. That surprised him. Good, he said. Then you know the first clause. I swallowed. Yes. He cleared his throat. The remainder of her estate, including property, accounts, and holdings, was never accessible to your parents. My hands trembled, amounting to, he paused, a sum significantly larger than what they took. I closed my eyes. She also left instructions, he continued, to delay notification until after the funeral. I felt a chill. Then he looked directly into the camera. Mary, she named you sole beneficiary. I couldn't breathe. And she left letters. For everyone. My heart broke and healed at the same time. The lawyer explained everything. The clauses, the protections, the timing. And then he said the words I would never forget. She knew they would try. When the call ended, I sat there for a long time. Then my phone buzzed. My mother. Missed call. Then another. My sister. Missed call. Then a message. We need to talk. Urgent. I smiled for the first time in days. They knew. Somehow, they knew. And now they were afraid. I didn't respond. I poured another cup of coffee. I opened the window. And for the first time since leaving, I felt something close to justice. That night, I opened Grandma's letter to me, the one she had left with the lawyer. It was short, but it felt like she was sitting beside me. Mary, if you're reading this, I've gone where you can't follow yet. I'm proud of you. Now live the life I wanted for you without fear. I folded the letter carefully and whispered, I will. Fear sounds different when it finally reaches the people who caused it. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's desperate. My phone didn't stop buzzing. Calls, messages, voicemails. Names I hadn't heard from in weeks suddenly appeared like ghosts who had just remembered I existed. My mother, my father, my sister, even distant relatives who never cared before. They all wanted one thing: control. The first voicemail was from my mother. Her voice shook. Mary, please call me. There's been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. That's what betrayal becomes when consequences arrive. The second was my sister. Angry, sharp, panicked. You need to fix this. Dad's not well. You're being cruel. I listened to it twice, and then I deleted it. I didn't respond. That was the hardest part. Not because I wanted to talk, but because I had spent my whole life being the one who fixed things. The peacemaker. The quiet one. The one who swallowed pain so others could breathe easier. But Grandma's voice echoed in my mind. Let them feel it. And so I did nothing. The lawyer emailed me the same day. The formal notice had been sent. Repayment was demanded. Interest applied. Assets frozen. A timeline set. They had 30 days. 30 days to face what they had done. My father called again that night. I answered. Not because I owed him, but because I was ready. "We made a mistake," he said quickly, like he was bargaining with time itself. "We'll return it. We just need—" "No," I interrupted.
Silence.
"You don't need anything from me," I continued. "You needed permission before." He sounded older.
Smaller.
"Mary, we're family." I laughed softly. "No," I said. "You were my family. Now you're just people who owe me money." And I hung up. The next day, my sister posted a photo online.
The car.
The caption read, "New beginnings." I stared at it for a long moment. Then I closed the app, because I knew something she didn't. 3 days later, the car was gone, returned, keys placed on the table, the dream undone. My mother called me that night,
Crying.
"We raised you better than this," she said. I closed my eyes. "You raised me to survive," I replied. And I did. I blocked them all. Every number, every account, not out of anger, out of peace. That night, I walked through my small apartment, touching the walls, the table, the plant by the window. This life was mine.
No one could take it.
And for the first time, I understood. Silence isn't weakness. It's a boundary. Reputation is a fragile thing. It takes decades to build, and one truth to destroy. My parents had spent their whole lives polishing theirs. Church on Sundays, smiles at events, charity dinners, perfect family photos. But reputations aren't built on who you pretend to be. They're built on who you protect when no one is watching. And they had never protected me. It started quietly. A lawyer's notice, a bank freeze, a returned car, and then whispers. My mother stopped going to church, not because she lost faith, but because she lost faces. People looked at her differently. They didn't smile the same. They didn't invite her to sit next to them anymore. My father was asked to take a break from the community board. Temporary, they said. But everyone knew what it meant. Scandal sticks, especially when money is involved. My sister disappeared from social media. Deleted posts, private accounts. No more new beginnings. Just silence. The kind that follows embarrassment. I heard all this from a cousin, when I barely remembered. She messaged me late one night. "I'm sorry. We didn't know." I stared at the message for a long time. Neither did I. Not until it was too late. People always apologize after the truth comes out. Rarely before. My mother tried again. New number. I answered once. "We're being judged," she whispered. I closed my eyes. "So was I said.
She cried.
Real crying. And for a moment, I almost felt sorry. Almost. Then I remembered every time I cried alone while they spent my future. And the feeling passed. "I don't want revenge," I told her. "I want distance." She didn't understand. People like her never do. The money came back in pieces. Transfers. Apologies in numbers. Each payment felt less like victory and more like closure. I didn't celebrate. I exhaled. At hospice, the nurse sent me a message. She said Grandma had passed peacefully. No pain, no fear, just rest. And I cried then. Not from loss, from relief. That night, I stood by my window and realized something strange. I didn't miss them. Not my parents. Not my sister. I missed who I thought they were. And that grief was finally ending. Some people leave money behind. Others leave land. But my grandmother left me something far more rare. Permission. I returned to her letters slowly, one by one. Not because I was afraid, but because I wanted to feel her presence longer. Each envelope smelled like lavender and time. And every word felt like she was still teaching me how to stand up straight in a world that kept trying to bend me. The first letter was about boundaries. "Mary," she wrote, "people will call you selfish when you stop saving them from themselves. Let them." I read that line 3 times, and something inside me finally relaxed. The second letter was about forgiveness. Not for them. For me. For staying too long. For hoping too much. For loving people who only loved your usefulness. I cried then. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet tears of recognition. I realized how heavy I had been living, carrying expectations that were never mine, fixing problems I didn't create, apologizing for existing. And I let it go. I visited a small park near my apartment that afternoon, the kind of place no one notices. Just trees, a bench, a fountain that needed repair. I sat there for hours, watching people walk by, families, couples, strangers. And for the first time, I didn't envy them. I wasn't missing anything anymore. The trust funds finalized that week. But the money felt secondary now. It wasn't freedom. It was confirmation. Confirmation that someone had seen me all along. I made a choice that night. I would use part of it to help women who had no exit, no plan, no grandmother watching their backs. I didn't tell anyone. I just started. Quietly. I enrolled in classes. Not for work. For joy. I learned a new language. I learned to cook meals no one had ever praised me for. I learned how to sit in silence, without panic. And something strange happened. I started to feel light.
Not happy yet.
But light. One evening, I dreamed of her. She was sitting in the kitchen, the old one from my childhood, smiling. "Good," she said. "You finally stopped waiting." I woke up crying, but I was smiling too, because I understood something now. Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you change while you're still here. And she had changed me, forever. I didn't plan to see them again. That was the truth. But life has a way of testing the lessons you swear you've already learned. The email came on a Tuesday afternoon. Subject: one last request. From my mother. I stared at it for a long time. I could delete it. I could ignore it. But something in me, not guilt, not fear, curiosity, maybe clicked open the message. "We need to see you. Just once. Not for money. Not for lawyers. For closure." I laughed quietly. Closure is what people ask for when they realize they've lost control. I agreed. Not because I owed them, but because I wanted to see who I was now, standing in front of who they used to be to me. We met in a small cafe near the train station. Neutral ground. No memories. No power. I arrived early. Sat by the window. And when they walked in, I felt nothing. That's how I knew I was ready. My parents looked smaller. Older. Not weak, just exposed. My sister came last.
She didn't look at me.
"Thank you for coming," my mother said softly. I nodded. "You have 10 minutes." She blinked. They talked. Apologized. Explained. Justified. Blamed fear. Blamed stress. Blamed misunderstanding. I listened. Not to forgive. To finish. "I didn't come for this," I said when they paused. Silence fell. I came to say goodbye. My father's face broke. My mother cried. My sister finally looked up. "Goodbye," she whispered. "Yes," I said calmly. "To the version of me you had access to." I stood. And for the first time, I didn't wait for permission. I didn't look back. Outside, the sun was setting. Golden. Soft. And I felt something lift from my chest. A weight I hadn't realized I was still carrying. That night, I slept deeply, without dreams, without guilt, just rest. And when I woke up, I wasn't their daughter anymore. I was my own person.
Peace is quiet.
It doesn't crash into your life. It doesn't make promises. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It simply appears one morning when you wake up and realize your chest doesn't feel heavy anymore. That morning, I stood in my kitchen holding a mug of tea, staring out the window, and something felt different. The world was the same, but I wasn't. For the first time in my life, I wasn't waiting for a phone to ring. I wasn't afraid of an email. I wasn't bracing for disappointment. I was just there, breathing, existing, living. And that's when I understood. Peace isn't the absence of pain. It's the absence of fear. A life built slowly. I built my new life the way you build trust after it's been broken, slowly, carefully, without rushing. I kept my apartment small, my routine simple, my circle tiny. Morning walks, work I chose, not work I begged for. Evenings with music instead of noise. I learned to enjoy silence, not the empty kind, but the safe kind. The job I had taken overseas turned out to be more than a job. It was a doorway. My ideas were heard. My boundaries respected. My work valued. No one asked me to shrink. No one asked me to explain why I deserved to be there. I was just there. And that changed everything. For the first time, I was praised without strings attached. I was trusted without being tested. And slowly, I stopped apologizing for existing. The woman I was becoming. I noticed the change in small things first. I stopped flinching when my phone buzzed. I stopped over-explaining my choices. I stopped smiling when I didn't mean it. I started saying no, without guilt, without excuses, without fear. And the world didn't end. I cut my hair shorter, not because I needed a change, but because I wanted one. I bought clothes that felt like me, not like the version of me others preferred. I laughed louder. I slept deeper. I trusted myself more. I was becoming the woman my younger self needed. And that realization made me cry in the middle of a grocery store aisle one evening. Not from sadness, from pride. The first success. 6 months after I moved, my project was approved. Not just approved, funded. The room clapped. My name was on the screen. And for a moment, I couldn't breathe. Because I realized something shocking. I had done this without them. Without my family's approval. Without my husband's support. Without anyone's permission.
Just me.
That night, I walked home in the rain and didn't care that I was soaked. I let it fall on my face, my hair, my clothes. It felt like baptism. Like the past was finally washing off me. The message I didn't expect. It was almost midnight when my phone buzzed. A name I hadn't seen in months appeared. My ex-husband. I stared at the screen. Not with anger. Not with fear. With distance. I heard you're doing well. I smiled. Not because of the message, but because it didn't matter anymore. I hope you're okay, he added.
I didn't reply.
Because I finally understood something. Closure doesn't come from answers. It comes from indifference. And I had reached it. The full circle moment. A year after Grandma passed, I visited her grave. I flew back quietly. No one knew I was coming. The cemetery was empty when I arrived. Just wind. Trees.
Silence.
I placed flowers and sat down on the grass beside her. I did it, I whispered. I'm okay. And for the first time since she left, I didn't miss her with pain. I missed her with gratitude. I told her about my life, about my home, my work, my peace. And then I told her the truth. They don't matter anymore. And I felt her lessons settle deep in my bones. The call that meant nothing. 2 days later, my mother called. A new number. I answered, not because I needed to, but because I could. Mary, she said carefully, I just wanted to hear your voice. I closed my eyes. You did. I replied gently, and I ended the call. No anger, no guilt, no regret, just calm. The future. I don't know what comes next. And for the first time, that doesn't scare me. Because I know who I am now. A woman who left. A woman who survived. A woman who built a life from silence. And most importantly, a woman who chose herself. That night, I stood by my window, watching the city lights glow like stars on the ground. And I smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because it was finally mine. Endings are never loud. They don't arrive with music or applause. They arrive quietly, the moment you realize you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. That's how my story ended, and how my life truly began. 2 years after I left, I stood in the same apartment that once felt temporary. It no longer did. The walls held memories. The plant by the window had grown tall. The kitchen smelled like coffee and peace. This place wasn't a stop anymore. It was home. I had learned to live without looking back. Not because the past stopped existing, but because it stopped defining me. The final letter. The lawyer emailed me one last time. Subject: trust closed. Everything was complete. Nothing left undone. I sat in silence for a long time after reading it. Not emotional. Not relieved. Just finished. I opened Grandma's last letter, the one I had saved for when I felt ready. "Mary," she wrote, "if you're reading this, you've already won. Not because you fought, but because you chose yourself." I pressed the letter to my chest.
And cried.
Not from pain, from gratitude. The life I built. I moved into a bigger place, not to impress anyone, but because I wanted light. I traveled. I rested. I said yes to things that scared me, and no to things that didn't feel right. I helped women quietly. No announcements. No credit. Just exits. Just plans. Just hope. And every time one of them left safely, I felt Grandma's smile somewhere in the universe. Forgiveness, the final kind. Forgiveness didn't come as a feeling. It came as release. I stopped replaying conversations. I stopped wondering what I could have said. I stopped needing them to understand. They never would. And that was okay. The last goodbye. One evening, I wrote a message. Not to send, just to let go. I wrote everything I had never said. Then I deleted it. And the weight lifted. I wasn't their daughter anymore. I wasn't anyone's victim. I was a woman who had survived. And then thrived. The ending. I stood by my window as the sun rose. The city below woke slowly. And I whispered the words I once needed someone else to say to me. "I'm proud of you." And that was enough.